Hello, this is a short video on how to record instructional videos using Screencast-O-Matic so that you can record any documents and annotations that you make on the documents and then play them back later. All right. What we're doing is we're doing this with Screencast-O-Matic software. We're using, in this case, a smartboard and smartboard software, Epson projector, BCC 950 webcam with a built-in microphone so that we catch the lecture as well as the annotations, and so that we can see the lecture as well. In order to start off, we'd set up the camera, which is a USB device, turn on the smartboard, turn on the projector, log into the computer, open up both the document that you want to use in your lecture and the Screencast-O-Matic software. The Screencast-O-Matic software can be accessed through an icon in the taskbar. The icon looks like a small little target. Double click on it and it will come up. It will open with a frame. You're going to put that frame around whatever it is that you're trying to record. Everything within that frame will be recorded. This is an example of that frame. Now here I'm using a picture of the frame because none of the controls of the frame show up when the actual Screencast-O-Matic recording is being done. First of all, there is the frame here, dotted line with these little white boxes. Everything within this frame will be recorded. You can change the size of the frame to match both your document and to allow a little margin in order to have the video show up without having the video cover any of the document by these boxes. Put the mouse in the box, click and drag, and you can change the size of the frame. Okay? These are the controls here. They don't normally show up when you're doing recording. This is the record control. Click it to start recording. You'll get a 3-second countdown. Click it to pause recording. When you are completely done with the recording, there is going to be a done button which occurs over on the far right. Okay? This is the microphone choice. Click on that arrow and select for the BCC 950, select the echo-free speakerphone. This is the camera control or camera selection. Click on it, select the BCC 950 camera, webcam, and that's just about all you should need to do to get ready to go. All right? Let's call up the document, which in this case is going to be a PDF, and resize the frame to match the PDF, and then let's go on with a test recording to show you some of the features of this. All right. Here's our PDF. It's a PDF lesson on the properties of exponents. Here I have the frame set a little wide to show you some of the controls. This is the PDF software. The frame is set up so that you can actually see the controls. If you are doing recording, you would probably want to have the frame and there, there. I would include extra space here to allow the video to show up and not obscure any of the document that you're looking at. All right. Since we're using the smart software and smart ink, all right, we would select the pen. We can select whatever color pen that we want. Let's pick black. Okay. Let's clear the ink to make sure that everything is set up here. There is our menu. We can turn the smart ink on and off if we want. All right. and we're ready to go. Okay? So now we have our document here. It's a PDF that's done by the ISU Math Department. It's been done in the fall of 2013. All right? Now, let's go on to an example of this. A couple things that happen here. First of all, if you want to go on to an example, if you want to change the page, you're going to use the arrow, up arrow or down arrow to go forward or back. In this case, you don't want to use the marker. If you use the marker as a mouse, what happens is that you simply put a dot on the arrow and it will not advance the page. Then the next time you hit it, the system thinks that it's a right click and you'll have to reset it. All right, so let's clear away the ink. All right. We have our highlights. We've done some notations here. Now we want to go to the second page. One or two things to remember about this. So you can just use your finger. And now we're on the second page. Okay. Note that this Smart Ink does not erase when you change pages. You have to decide whether or not you want to keep the annotations on that page as you continue on, or whether you want to erase them. We're going to want to use this, so what we're going to do is either before or after, clear the ink off. Change the page, again, with a finger rather than the marker, all right? Here we have the statement that positive exponents represent repeated multiplication. So you take a number and multiply that number by itself some set number of times. In this case, we have the number 2, all right? 2 is what we're going to be multiplying, and that means that 2 is the base. How many times are we going to be multiplying that? 1, 2, 3 times. And so that means that 3 is our exponent. All right. So if you multiply 2 by 2 by 2, you get the answer 8. Okay. So that's our first example using numbers of positive exponents. All right. Let's look at another example. The next example will appear down here, so what we're going to want to do is clear the ink there, advance the page, and you can go back a page if there's something that you feel that you want to illustrate again. In this case, we're talking about not a specific value, but a variable that can assume any one of a number of values. All right. We have the variable x, and we want to multiply x by itself 4 times. All right. And in this case, in our example here, we don't have a value for x, so x is going to remain as x to the 4th. Okay. We can continue on with this. There's going to be more down here, but I haven't written anything down there, so I can just continue on. Okay. Now we're talking about special cases. We're talking about the case where x is equal to, or the exponent is equal to 1. All right. If the exponent of any base is equal to 1, that's just that number occurring once. Okay. So that's x to the first power or 2 to the first power or whatever. You just get the same value back. Okay. Change the page again. It's just like multiplying by 1. Change the page again, another special case. In this case, we have the exponent 0. All right. In this case, the exponent 0, anything raised to the power of 0 is equal to 1. Okay. All right. So there's our little demonstration of this. In order to finish this, what we would do is we would hit the stop, all right, the done, and then when we hit done, we will be offered a number of ways to save it, all right? You can choose whichever way you want. I usually choose an MP4 recording, all right? So